I don't even know where to start with what we just watched at Atlanta. You could feel something building all weekend. You could feel a shift coming. A driver who has been grinding through a rough stretch, finally showing real speed again, finally looking like the version of himself that has dominated this sport for 2 decades, and then in a split second, it is all gone. Just like that. This wasn't just another racing deal. There's history here, there's emotion, and fans are losing their minds over it right now. Something happened at EchoPark Speedway that could change the tone of this entire season for one of the sport's biggest names. And it didn't end quietly. Before we break this down completely, welcome to NASCAR Nation Report. We are a new channel building something special from the ground up, and our first goal is 5,000 true NASCAR fans riding with us. If you care about this sport the way we do, hit that like button and subscribe. You are in the right place. Now let's get into it, because here's exactly where everything flipped. On Saturday, Kyle Busch went out and won the FR8 Racing 208 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at EchoPark Speedway in Atlanta. That was his 68th career Truck Series win. Let that number sit with you for a moment. 68 wins. That is not a driver who has lost it. That is Kyle Busch doing Kyle Busch things. Going into Sunday, the momentum was real. The slump felt ready to crack. The vibe around the number 8 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet coming into the NASCAR Cup Series Autotrader 400 was genuinely different. Busch rolled off from 14th on the starting grid, a result of the new qualifying metric that is based 70% on the previous race result and 30% on owner points position. By the end of Stage 1, he had climbed all the way up to 7th. That number 8 Chevrolet had life. Fans could see it. Kyle could feel it. Coming into Atlanta, he was sitting 14th in Cup points after finishing 15th from the pole at the season-opening Daytona 500. Not spectacular, but steady and workable. This was supposed to be the day things started to turn around. Lap 125. Stage 2 is underway. Busch is running 13th. Coming off turn 2, his number 8 drifts up the track. Not fully out of control, but not perfectly straight either. He said it himself. I didn't get the best of exits off of turn 2 there. Right behind him is Noah Gragson in the number 4 front row Motorsports Ford Mustang. Here is where it goes wrong. Instead of checking up for even a fraction of a second to let Busch gather the car, Gragson gives him a full send. No lift, no hesitation. A massive shove directly into a car that is already crossed up. Busch gets turned hard, spins across the backstretch and slams nose first into the inside retaining wall. Heavy damage. The car gets towed away under caution. Race over. DNF P34. Busch did not hold back after the race. In his own words, "Was a little crossed up, not bad when I got out there to the wall, and just perfect timing for the Ford to just ram me as hard as he could and send me spinning instead of just checking up for a second, making sure I was straight, hitting me softly." And then the line that tells you exactly where his head is. It's just what they all do. They just all run through you. Doesn't matter if you're aimed the right way or not. That is not the comment of a driver venting about one bad moment. That is accumulated frustration from a veteran who feels like basic respect is disappearing on super speedway-style tracks. Physically, Busch was fine. He climbed out of the car under his own power, was evaluated at the infield care center, and was cleared. Physically, he's okay. And that's what matters most. But the race result was a disaster, and the context behind it makes this story run much deeper than a simple crash. Noah Gragson is not just some random driver in the field. He drove for Kyle Busch Motorsports, KBM, in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in 2017 and 2018. Kyle gave him a platform early in his career. There is a real, documented relationship between these two men that stretches back nearly a decade. When someone who raced under your banner comes up behind you and puts you in the wall, you are not just mad about the wreck, you are mad about who did it. Notice that Busch did not say, "It was just a racing deal," or "wrong place, wrong time." He identified Gragson directly by car number and stated clearly that Gragson never checked up and rammed him as hard as he could. The phrase, "they all do it," signals that this frustration has been building across multiple incidents and multiple tracks. What does it say when a two-time Cup Series champion, A driver with 63 Cup wins, 2 titles, and record-breaking totals across all 3 NASCAR National Series, feels like nobody is giving him even a split second of consideration out there. Kyle Busch is 40 years old. He is in his 3rd season with Richard Childress Racing, still trying to prove he belongs at the front of the field without the machinery he had at Joe Gibbs Racing. The truck win on Saturday proved the talent is fully intact. This crash was a gut punch at the worst possible moment. Now, let's look at the concrete standings damage. Busch entered Atlanta 14th in Cup points. After the DNF and P34 finish, he dropped to 24th. That is a 10-position freefall in just 2 races into the 2026 season. Under the new 10-race Chase Championship format, early points positioning carries consequences that go beyond just the standings column. Playoff seeding is set by the final regular season points total, and the regular season champion receives a significant advantage entering the chase. Every point lost now has compounding effects. The qualifying order each week is set at 70% previous race result and 30% owner points, meaning bad finishes lead to worse grid positions, which lead to worse pit stall selections, which makes it harder to run up front, which leads to more bad finishes. It compounds. Kyle Larson, arguably the most talented driver in the sport right now, is sitting 21st in the standings after 2 races and already fielding questions about it. Christopher Bell is 31st, Alex Bowman is 32nd, Ty Gibbs is 33rd, Austin Dillon is 34th. Busch at 24th is not yet in panic territory, but the margin for error is shrinking fast and the schedule is not slowing down. While Busch was watching his day fall apart, Tyler Reddick was writing a completely different story. The Autotrader 400 went to double overtime, and Reddick won it, driving a car that had its right front fender completely missing after a wreck with under 50 laps to go. His team put fresh tires on the damaged car, and Reddick charged back through the field to win. Back-to-back wins to open 2026, the first driver to accomplish that feat since Matt Kenseth in 2009. 23X. iRacing co-owner Michael Jordan was in victory lane again, and 23XY Racing now holds the top 2 spots in the championship standings with Reddick and Bubba Wallace. The competitive structure of NASCAR in 2026 is being reshaped in real time. Spire Motorsports has Carson Hocevar sitting 4th in points after finishing 4th at Atlanta. The same driver who was leading the Daytona 500 entering the final lap before crashing past the white flag. Hocevar quotes Talladega Nights on the radio, rattles veterans in every drafting situation, and makes 0 apologies. The traditional Big Three, Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Team Penske, which account for 18 of the past 21 Cup championships, have only Chase Elliott cracking the top 10 in the standings through 2 races. Off the track, the drama is equally significant. Joe Gibbs Racing has filed a lawsuit against former competition director Chris Gabehart, alleging he stole trade secrets worth more than $8 million to benefit Spire Motorsports. Gabehart, who was with JGR since 2012 and rose to competition director before the 2025 season, denies all allegations. He stated, "A third-party forensic expert retained by JGR recently examined my laptop, cell phone, and personal Google Drive and found no evidence to support the baseless allegations." JGR claims a forensic review of Gabehart's team-issued laptop turned up folders titled Spire and images of confidential files. Gabehart is reportedly headed to Spire as Chief Motorsports Officer. The off-track war between big organizations is just as intense as what's happening on the track. The next race on the schedule is COTA, the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, the Duramax Texas Grand Prix powered by Velodyne, a road course, a fundamentally different type of racing that removes the drafting chaos that just cost Busch his day at Atlanta. And his history there is worth noting. Kyle led the most laps at COTA in 2025 before finishing 5th behind winner Christopher Bell. The road course is a genuine reset opportunity, a track where pure driving skill and setup matter more than draft positioning and split-second push decisions. There are 2 paths in front of him right now. The first, Busch channels this crash as fuel. He shows up at COTA focused and aggressive, strings together strong results over the next several races, and climbs back into a playoff-relevant position before the regular season closes. The second, the points deficit deepens week by week. The tension with Gragson becomes a recurring subplot every time they appear at a drafting track together, and the playoff path becomes increasingly complicated. These are the moments that define seasons. Kyle Busch has responded to adversity before, multiple times across a career that includes 2 Cup championships and over 200 wins across NASCAR's National Series. The question now is whether the RCR program gives him the equipment and track position to do it again in 2026. And the next time the number 8 and the number 4 line up next to each other at a drafting track, every push, every lane choice, every restart, everyone in the garage is going to be watching. The personal element between Busch and Gragson adds a subplot that will follow this season for months. So here is the question for every NASCAR fan watching right now. Was that just hard racing at a super speedway-style track, no different from what everyone else is doing out there? Or did Noah Gragson cross a line, especially given the history between these two? Some of you are going to say that's just Atlanta racing. Some of you are going to say Gragson owes Kyle at least a split second of consideration. Drop your take in the comments. Real NASCAR fans who know this sport, break it down. If you enjoyed breaking this down today, hit that like button and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. Our first goal is 5,000 true NASCAR fans who love honest, passionate coverage of this sport every single week. If you live for Sundays, if you follow the standings, if you felt the tension in that moment at Atlanta, you belong here. I'll see you in the next one.